Welcome back. Tomorrow is election day in the United States. Millions of Americans will cast their ballot and decide their own future, the future of the United States, and also the future of the entire world. I want to share with you an interesting article I just read on the CNN website. It's about election day. And this is the article I want to share with you. The title of this article is Trump offers darkness, Harris offers optimism on election eve in America. The tumultuous 2004 election is ending with a contrast that encapsulates Americans' fateful choice on election eve. The former President Donald Trump is darkening what is already the most dystopian closing argument in modern American history, and flinging new and baseless claims that Democrats are cheating. They want to rig the election. Vice President Kamala Harris, while warning about the perils of a Trump second term, is claiming momentum and invoking optimism and aspiration as she lays claim to a new generation of leadership in America. More than 75 million of whom have already cast their ballots are finally face to face with an election that could profoundly change the country and the world, and that as people on both sides fearing for their way of life should their candidate lose. Nervous tensions are coming to a boil as Trump and Harris dash to the swing states, the battleground states that are likely to decide the race, marked by extraordinary twists that nevertheless ends with them neck and neck in the polls. The former president will start Monday in North Carolina, a state Republicans expected to lock down long ago, before heading to Pennsylvania, which could end up decide who will win. He'll close his third presidential bid with a late-night rally in Michigan. Harris, who held a final Michigan rally on Sunday, will spend Monday in another vital blue wall state, Pennsylvania, including a big finish in Philadelphia with Lady Gaga and Oprah Winfrey. Trump is getting more extreme by the hour in outbursts that seem to augur a fresh attempt to defy the will of the voters if he loses. For instance, he claimed falsely in Pennsylvania on Sunday that Democrats are fighting so hard to steal this damn thing, and that voting machine could be tampered with, while saying he shouldn't have left the White House in 2021. Harris is trying to reanimate the feeling of joy and possibility that infused the early campaign rallies. On Sunday, at a black church in Detroit, she condemned those who sow hate, spread fear, and spread chaos in a reference to a rival. In these next 2 days, it will be tested, she said. We were born for such a time as this. But the vice president also sought to summon the best angel of America's nature, striking aspirational notes that a Republican foe abandoned long ago. Harris said in North Carolina on Saturday, I have lived the promise of America, and today I see the promise of America in everybody who is here, in all of you, in all of us. We are the promise of America. If Trump wins on Thursday, he will be the only second defeated president to win a non-consecutive term. It will be complete one of the most staggering political comebacks ever after trying to torch democracy to stay in power after 2020 election, being convicted of a crime and escaping two attempts of his life this year. Harris could shatter the line of nearly 250 years of male commanders-in-chief and become the first female president. It could be a stunning feat after she unified the demoralizing Democratic Party in July when President Joe Biden's re-election bid was destroyed by his ravage of age. On the last day of the campaign, the massive stakes of the election are heightened by the sense that no one can possibly say who will win this election. Polls nationally and the vital swing state show no clear leader, reflecting a country that is polarized just as sharply as when the race starts. But the possibility remains that one candidate has managed to fashion a late advantage in battleground, including Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, North Carolina, Nevada, and Arizona, and could sweep to a wider than anticipated win. Democrats are encouraged by apparently strong early turnout among women voters, with abortion rights a potential pivotal issue in the first presidential election since the Trump-built Supreme Court majority overturned Roe v. Wade in 2022. Harris has also worked to repair fissures in the traditional Democratic coalition, try to appeal to black men and Latino voters in particular. Trump is banking on voters weary of high food and housing prices and still feeling the trauma from now called inflation. And he has demonized undocumented migrants to highlight a southern border crisis. The Biden administration struggled for months to recognize the gravity of each issue and to offer effective remedies, meaning the seed of a possible Harris defeat may have long been sown, and Trump's team is convinced it will eat into traditional minority Democratic constituency and again bring out people who don't typically vote. But there are also foreboding signs from Trump. His behavior already looks like a new attempt to try to overturn the final result. If he loses after his conduct following the last election led to an invasion of the United States Capitol by supporters who beat up police and tried to thwart the certification of Biden's victory. Harris has said that she is ready to respond if the ex-president makes a premature victory declaration, and this maneuvering suggests that absent a clear victory by either side, uncertainty over the election could last days. This is not an ordinary election, due largely to the smoldering presence of Trump, already the most disruptive president of the modern age, who is vowing unfettered strongman rule if he wins back the Oval Office. If he follows to his own promises, the twice impeached Republican nominee would subject American governing, judicial, and constitutional institutions to their greatest test in generation. In a term, is pledging to root in personal vengeance. Trump has outlined the darkest, most authoritarian platform of any presidential candidate in modern memory. He is promising the biggest ever mass deportation of migrants, an operation that by definition would involve law enforcement and possibly even the military and domestic crackdown that would challenge civil liberties. He has openly considered using the United States Armed Forces against his political opponent, whom he labeled enemy from within, and vermin emulating the language of some of history's most notorious tyrants, or tyrant maybe. The ex-president also proposed a transformation of the economy in the name of working Americans who have flocked to his populist nationalist message after seeing their livelihood hollowed out by decades of globalization. But this love of a tariff risk causing a backlash that could throw the economy into reverse. Trump also plans a purge of the Washington bureaucrats and the gutting of agencies like the Justice Department that constrain him in his first term and that he wants to weaponize to expunge his criminal prosecution and fulfill his personal and political whims. More than 9 years after his entering the presidential fray, Trump may be as strong political as he has ever been. He has crushed dissent inside the GOP and cemented his unshakable bond with the tens of millions of Americans who believe he speaks for them and confound elites who they believe disdain them. Harris heads into Election Day with a chance to end the Trump era and hand a second straight electoral defeat to a Republican Party that appeased his lies and threats to the Constitution, to the democracy, in the hardline pursuit of power. She's offering voters the chance to dodge the tumult and peril to the rule of law that Trump's own campaign suggests he represents. The Vice President also proposes reforms to improve the lives of working people, of the middle class, but hers are less revolutionary than Trump's. She is promising steps to make housing more affordable to crack down on what she calls price gouging by supermarket giants and to guarantee better health care and more reasonable prices. Harris has taken a risk by offering continuity at a time of deep dissatisfaction with domestic economic and political realities and growing concern in the country about a world in which tyrants are on the march. She is also struggled to separate herself from the 81 years old president who is deeply unpopular despite presiding over the industrialized world's most robust economic recovery since the COVID-19 pandemic. A campaign that exploded to life in a surge of joy, in ending with the most searing warnings that Trump is a fascist who could destroy America's democratic way of life, alienate United States allies, and subjugate the country's vital national image as a genuflex to the autocrat in Russia and China, whom he apparently wishes to emulate. Harris' best route to the presidency runs to Democratic blue wall states, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. CNN polls averaging the last 5 nonpartisan surveys shows no clear leader in any of these trio, though CNN survey last week indicated a narrow edge of Harris in the first two of those two states and a tie in the Keystone State. If she loses Pennsylvania, Harris would need a combination of other swing states also show no clear leader. If Trump wins Pennsylvania, as he did in 2016, he could take a huge step toward a second term. Democrats experienced a new surge of optimism on Sunday when the last poll of the campaign from the Des Moines Register, a Mediacom showed, we are talking about Iowa, showed Harris at 47 and Trump at 44% among likely voters in a state he won easily. In 2020 and 2016. That margin falls within the poll's 3.4 point margin of a sampling error and suggests no clear leader in the state. But the findings which suggested a shift toward Harris from the previous Iowa poll in September also showed that the vice president with a strong advantage among women. If such a pattern is repeated nationwide, the vice president could be headed to victory if she can limit a deficit to Trump among white males especially. Trump's campaign sent out acerbic memos assailing the Iowa polls and set a New York Times Siena College survey. And the ex-president immediately used the new data to flesh out his claim that he's a victim of a rigged election. We've been waiting 9 years for this, and we've got 2 days, and we got all this crap going on with the press and with the fake stuff and fake polls, he said in Pennsylvania. In other words, he's, spreading hate, is, telling a lot of lies. In my opinion, he's unfit to, to be the next president of the United States. And tomorrow will be election day. So none of the polls matter anymore because Americans are about to make their choice. And I do hope they make the right choice. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.